Whoops. There we go. Yay! We're here. We did it. We did it. We made it. I just had to quickly switch over layer T's in Cypress because I had accidentally.
Vortex work. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Both of you are quite good at using that spell to really weird for really weird reasons and in really weird ways. It's true.
Has a day gone by the way?
Yes.
It's been a couple, babe.
A
You gotta watch the stream.
Oh no.
Yes.
My calendar.
Thanks. Thank you, Pip. Have fun being Nancy Drew and or her sordid minions. I don't remember their names. I used to, but I don't remember them now. They were basically yeah, she had 2 best friends or 3 best friends. I don't remember now. I just remember that there were other girls that followed her around. And now that I think about it, they almost reminded me.
Those were lackeys.
They were almost like
when you say we're friends, what does that mean?
I want to say one of them was like Bess, and the other one they were like super generic names, but I want to say they were almost like the Powerpuff Girls. Like Nancy Drew was one of. Oh my God, were they the origin story of the Powerpuff Girls? I'm gonna have to look this up because I feel like in all of the pictures of the art, one was wearing a red dress, one wears a blue dress, one wears a green dress kind of situation. I want to say. I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. So
you can say whatever you want.
I mean,
This show.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening. In any case, hello everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of Age of Myth. Looking forward to shenanigans. As far as announcements go, I think tomorrow we're on for some vampire goodness.
We're off this week, actually.
Or off this week. Okay.
Our illustrious and all-important producer is on a plane this week, so we get to take a little break, and we're going to do some little bookkeeping behind the scenes, get our characters maybe leveled up. Maybe. We'll see. It depends on if they can make me an argument, and I am not keen on letting them.
This is going to break my vampire streak.
This is what I built my character for.
So many games in a row.
But in any case, I believe, Aaron, you have something that's going to be happening.
Yes, I do. So on Friday, 7 p.m. Central, here with friends, some of them here and some of them over here, or I guess wherever your chat is located. We have Pip and Martel are going to be joining some other friends of ours in a Star Wars game on this Friday. So tune in for that because it surely is going to be fun. And there'll be some of the uses of blasters, the Force, some droids, maybe a lightsaber or 2. Definitely going to, light speed at some point or something like that. I don't know. Sure, whatever it is will be gloriously fun and definitely very serious with no laughs because that's how we roll.
Star Wars is a
very serious place. Yeah. But yeah, super excited about that. Hopefully we'll be able to get in. Tune in for that. Exactly, Darius. Exactly. It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. We'll have our definitely not Jedi Star Wars princess with all of that goodness. But other than
we
that,
love her. She's great.
Yeah, she's great. She's great. Making friends everywhere she goes across the galaxy. Let's see. I think that's it as far as announcements goes. Yes.
But if we have any other ones, you can check our socials and our Discord.
Yeah. That is the thing. Oh, wait, hold on. I have one more. I did forget. Like, if I can do this really, freaking fast. Boop, boop. Possibly. I'm trying my darndest. Wait, where did I just gotta move a thing, and then move a thing. Oh god, it's a lot bigger than I thought. Hold on, resizing. Okay, Oh my god. Hold on. Almost there.
I
Don't.
think Grim
don't.
and I just eyebrows went up at the same time.
Nope. Yep. Nope. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Don't panic. Oh, where did the audio settings go? There they are. Okay. Hold on. Switching screens. I don't have any of this prepared, but if we go over here, we have some of our first art of the stream. I had almost forgotten. Almost. I was like, there was something I was supposed to do today, and yeah. So the lovely Vic Strauss, over at Top Down Tabletop, was commissioned to do a little piece of Themisto and Phoebe, and by a little piece I mean like all of them, but you know.
No,
So-
all of them is in the other commission.
Oh my.
Oh no.
You guys don't get to see that one.
That's Nights After Dark.
No. Okay. Anyway. So there's that. Yeah, there you go. We'll have on the break, I'll put up some, socials and stuff where you can find Vic Straws, but also check out Top Down Tabletop because that's where a lot of our friends are, and that's where Vix is. So I think after that, now completely, we have no more announcements. I don't think so. I think we're ready to move on. Thank you.
Happy
Jeremy.
November.
Happy November. Oh my God. Yeah, I
No.
forgot. We went through this last week, actually. You weren't here. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. I feel like we did this last time. Oh, we are here to survive. And that's what we're going to do. All right. Let's press on to the intro. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. 21st of Thargelion, Hemera Kronu continued. It has been my experience, having walked these few generations amongst these short-lived people, that they spend either all their time thinking outside of themselves or all their time thinking only inside themselves. A blessing and a curse at times. For when one's own inner demons can be so distracting and destructive that the focus on the world outside our minds is a refuge that we can focus on, but at the cost of never settling those destructive voices within our heads. Or a blessing in that we shut a world out that can be cold, bitter, and dark, and try and cling to whatever light, life, and comfort we can find within the confines of our perception. But what happens when the world around us is not what we think? That those we imagine are sneering, mocking, pressuring, or demanding are in fact in reality doing none of those things? What if we truly had a blessing only to imagine it a curse? For Phoebe, it was a morning of several revelations of reality that at the time had no answers. Townsfolk she seemed to hesitate and shudder away from greeted her with the warmth and kindness unlike any she had remembered before. Words were given, beautiful sentiments of joy at her return, at her being alive and found. Truly, most of the fishing quarter regarded the golden-haired Phoebe's return as a blessing from the gods. In watching her reactions, however, it was as though she had never seen this side of what had once been her neighbors. Returning home, she found it tended to by a fishing companion of her husband's. He, like others, spoke to the fact that Phoebe had been a light in their life, even to the point a life-giver of sorts. But upon finding that she was belonging now to another, the sting of betrayal was evident in the man as though it had been done to him. And the same was found when she approached those in the temple to try and annul her marriage. The priests that had been her family, with respect, seemed to have lost something in their eyes. A fact that was plainly evident on the tear-stricken face of the Corinthian woman. While perhaps this return home was not what she had intended nor expected, it set upon her the reality that a large portion of her life was indeed in the past, and she was now free to seek a future. Seeing to a few supplies under a disguised Mystios entourage, the rest of the Orphics offered her support as we decided not to stay in Corinthos any longer than needed and to get back on our journey. Sometimes I wonder, do the fates guide us where we are meant to be, with who we are meant to be? Or do they merely offer us the paths we can walk, and it is us who weaves our tales, and whether we find ourselves prey stuck within our own threads? Okay. Let's see here. Set up some ambiance. As I recall, the group had gathered together after having spoken at the temple one last time and gathering a few supplies before they head out. You guys were on the process of leaving Corinthos, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're going to the place that Sandra looked up how to pronounce, and I don't remember.
Ismia. All right, so let's see here. Close these now.
Or potentially as far as Megara, depending on how
The
quick
city
we walk.
full of Megs.
I forgot about that. Yes, that's right.
Look,
Was-
I had to find joy in places I could. It was a tough night.
I'm just
There's
picturing
so many
though a whole bunch
reasons.
of Jason Stathams.
Yeah, it's well. I was saying it was like Nurse Joy, except that they're all named Meg.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a whole bunch of them. It's like, no, that's my sister. The
That's where
other
they're all
Nurse
from.
Joy.
And they all have a pet shark, also named the same thing.
And he's
Yes.
very, very big. Or
It
she.
is. It is a
That's
very.
also where the spice nutmeg comes from.
Oh my god. Well, there we go. Okay.
Very
Um,
nice.
It's canon.
Yep. Canon. This day, as you guys are walking out, there, mind you, we are, as I looked it up, we are in the midst of a May to June month, basically. So on the cusp of becoming summertime. As you guys are walking, there is a cold breeze that blows through Corinthos. It travels around the people, so much so that some of them shudder and bring their shawls or wrappings close, kind of do the rubbing of the arms. Themisto, this causes you to notice. A cold breeze in the middle of the spring and into the summer seems unusual.
Themisto is going to, since she's particularly sensitive to cold, kind of go like this and then a hug closer to Phoebe. I said chill in the air.
Does it mean something?
Perhaps the lands of Hyperborea call to us. Or the four god kings of the winds. Perhaps the one of the north is ascendant right now.
Make a nature or religion check. Or
I am good at both of those things.
whichever one of those two.
I almost used the Isker dice. I need the Themisto dice. Okay. Math failure in progress. 22.
That's okay. Math is failure
And-
for me all the time, so it works.
And since I usually roll religion, let's
Yeah.
roll nature just to change the flavor of the output.
Sure. You find it curious as you kind of consider everything about what you just felt. The cold wind, as you were you look up at the sun where it's positioned in the midday sky, and you kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily triangulate, but you kind of pay attention to where the sun had risen and fallen or whatever. The wind blew from the south, which is double unusual. For cold winds don't always blow from the south, warmer seas of the world. Not often, anyway. And in fact, they blew in a northeasterly direction. It does feel rather like a sign of some sort, but it could have multiple interpretations.
This is a strange thing. Either we are being beckoned to hasten, based on the direction, to make our way to Thebes, or perhaps we leave something cold behind. I do worry about Callisto. But I have written in my letter to the Vethia that she should send some of the sisters here to help to watch her. I suppose when I have the chance I can tell Hecate to.
As you guys are walking, Amadeo, are you guys still in disguise?
No, once we got out of sight of the city, we went back to normal mode.
Okay. Just curious.
Or, well, normal maybe isn't the right word, but
The default texture pack,
right.
probably.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Good to be myself again.
Mog and Mikos both look to each other and grab the seaweed from Mikos's head and are in the process of chunking it off to the side as it's now basically started to dry out and it's getting itchy.
The Misto is gonna pull her hood down again too. That is true. It is a nice feeling.
Cypress,
Yes.
you've been awful quiet these last few days. Davos comes over to you as you guys are walking. He kind of nudges your shoulder with his arm. A drachma for your thoughts.
I heard what Themisto said about the winds. I don't have much more need for haste, but I wonder if it means the winds themselves are being called. I don't know how to interpret that, but could be for defense, could be for messages, or could simply just be the cold.
He shrugs. It could be any number of things. In Sparta, we would say when the wind blew cold in unseasonable times. They would say that death flew ahead of us to wherever we were going. It was generally a trying to bolster the troops that if we were going to battle or what have you, that we would be victorious. So consider it a good thing.
Well, we are going to battle. I definitely interpret those words differently than your men apparently would.
Would you
To me, it sounds like death has already reached where we are heading.
You know, could be. But to be fair, the reach of Hades is everywhere. This,
Like
Death-
bathhouses.
yes. You really are so Theban.
I meant for that to be kind of strange, but then it sounded worse after I said it.
No, I mean, but you are right. There are usually bathhouses everywhere you go. So, it's a fair assessment. Can I ask you something?
Most likely.
Not like you could have stopped me. What are you going to do when you reach Thebes?
Well, I don't intend to leave my companions, but hopefully head straight for the Queens and Asterion. If nothing else, then to deliver the news of the threat.
That is all.
Of course, I hope more comes after, but the most important thing is hopefully in a way that avoids the loophole of revealing ourselves in the full extent of our nature and journey. As you said, death is ahead of us. And hopefully we can mitigate that. Or I don't think we can prevent it.
True, but
What do you
I-
suspect I would do? Or not suspect. What would you imagine I would do?
run into your companion's arms.
First thing.
First thing. In fact, I've already bet on it with Xanthus.
Really?
Hmm.
Who's on whose side? Because you sure are affecting the scales.
Listen, to be fair, I'm not going to tell you so that you don't show any favoritism, although I have a feeling that I'm correct.
If he is the first one I see, of course. And I can't pretend I'll know quite how I'll react when I see him. But this is not a victorious return home.
Isn't
This
it
is
so?
the enemy. The enemy has headed home before I could make it back.
You don't know that.
I have every reason to believe it.
It's true. But just because it was told to us doesn't mean it's certain.
I feel like Laertes would have so much to say about that.
He usually does.
He would agree with you, but I feel like that is a very a scarecrow argument. Is that what he know? Straw something.
Strauss. I do not even try to understand half the things that come out of that man's mouth.
I feel like there's an itch in the back of my head.
What are you gonna say, Laertes?
Somewhere in the back of all of this, just as a bit of flavor, Maal and Laertes are having a discussion about logical fallacies and how they're used improperly. Continue.
You have a reason to sneeze. I believe that we need to prepare for a bad case scenario. I'm comforted that you think otherwise, but I cannot imagine that things will be good when I get home. The best case scenario is that I can get home just in time to warn of this threat. Because even if it doesn't head towards Thebes, people need to know in some way. Not everyone, but them, I need to know.
As you're talking, I need you to make an insight check for me.
You got it.
Please? Please? Please?
Is that a Skeksis impression?
Chamberlain asks, please.
My brain is so full of references that I've seen that movie one time.
But you knew what it was, so that's good.
Insight at a whopping -1 is a 5.
Holy crap.
Nice.
Well,
I feel like there are things you're trying to relate to me, but I have no idea what.
he seems to just have this like far away look, like he's just not paying attention. And then he asks you, what is he like? I feel like I have asked you this before, but
Well, the pun must come first. He's warm.
you see the like he's trying to understand
Oh, did
because
I?
he is alive.
He's the child of a fire and starlight elemental.
Oh, I feel like maybe you have told me this.
So he is warm
He shakes his
in
head.
many ways. But he is calm, he is compassionate, he is lovely. He can create. He's a musician, he's an artist. When you are around him, you feel events of significance are taking place. I mean, in some ways, very literally, because I've been there for music that he has composed or a painting that he has painted, and I was the first one to see them, and they have since become more widely known. But even for the little things, history for me.
That was
He's like he's like a gentle forge that you can be near without needing all that protective leather and metal. See things being made.
At first, I wasn't understanding where you were going with that, but now I understand. It's like much better a campfire, surely, or a hearth, even. But if the creation of things is what you notice most, then I see where that example might have come from. He seems to shake out of his own thoughts. Well, we are more than halfway there, and we're definitely living on a prayer.
He wrote that, you know.
Did he? That's
Yes.
pretty impressive that it spread all the way down to Sparta.
A lot of things do. They just were written in a different. They were written in primordial.
Huh. I guess I
That
have
wasn't the original limerick, but yes.
That surprises me. Well, he shrugs and reaches his arm around your shoulder and pulls you in a an awkward angle. Sees the two of you walk, and you
You're so much taller than me.
for a hot minute, you're like, is this how we're just gonna walk the rest of the way? Because he doesn't seem to be letting go. It's definitely that
Walking while hugging does not work, and we
Yeah.
all want it to work.
and especially when you're wearing armor and weapons and shields and all that stuff.
Tripping every step.
Yeah, it's
Baby's like, I don't know, we figured it out.
You don't wear armor.
but it's definitely in that affectionate fraternal kind of way of just it's the way you would with a younger cousin, or that familial closeness that he just kind of brings you in and just kind of walks alongside you for a little bit before he eventually shoves you off with almost enough force to make you trip over sideways. But yeah, you guys continue walking for a little while. About a couple hours before you reach Izmia. This place, I'll have you guys roll a history check for me.
Oh no.
Oh, it can't be that bad.
It's not as bad as my insight. That's an 8.
I got a 9.
No, wait, it's actually a 9. It's not negative. I assumed it was a negative.
6? Oh my god, y'all. Petulant
You
Cobra.
muted Bartel.
24.
Sorry, just 3.
Oh, just 3?
3 twice.
Yo, I thought it was 6. Okay,
3 plus 0 is 3.
Laertes.
24.
Okay, the Mista.
Insight, yes.
History or history, yeah.
History.
History.
I think our resident historian is going to be the best at this. I got a 15.
15? Cool. Phoebe?
A 9.
9? Okay. Oh, yeah, you said that.
You
You know what it was? I in my mind, I was thinking Astrid because I heard you, and then when I said it again, I was like, I meant to ask Astrid, and I was like, oh wait, no, it's just.
Oh, you've made yourself
Astrid.
sad.
Astrid, would you roll?
Good.
Astrid.
I'd laugh so hard if Sandra walked into the room right now.
No, you got to call up Sandra. I know I know you're a
I
work
know.
thing, but I need you to roll.
But I need you to roll. Just do it. Just do it. Don't ask
I
questions.
don't care that you're talking to the cops right now.
Okay. La la la. Okay. For the those so Themisto and Laertes. Ismia is a very interesting place. It is along the isthmus there, leading on to deeper into the mainland of the Helens, but it is on a very active fault line. It is thought to have been, this being both mythologically and in etc. It is thought to have been a very divine place. There's a couple of temples here. This, I guess, Themisto would know for sure. There is a rather large temple / sanctuary to Poseidon here. There are also several other shrines to various deities, most of them relating to the harvest. And those kind of circling around Poseidon's like family tree, just because it was often said that Poseidon and oh my gosh, I forgot to write.
Thinking of harvest.
Yeah, Demeter is also one that's here, but it was Poseidon and somebody else that kind of had and this is mythology speaking, that Poseidon and someone else had an argument as far as like who owned this city, basically, because it was like so close to the coast, but then it was also so close. I don't remember who else it was. It was another one of the Gaia gods.
It's okay. I'm gonna
You're gonna Google it?
Athens we're talking about.
No, it's not. It's not. But interesting enough, that argument was they attributed that to the pretty, not constant, but the frequent earthquakes that would be felt there, the tremors in the ground. So they would always say that this was their arguing back and forth. But as you guys approach this town filled with shrines and temples, particularly the large marble sanctuary of Poseidon, it is probably one of those things that as you guys have been traveling over these last few weeks, the more you see of these grandiose temples dedicated to these gods, the more the thought strikes you as to their truth or their origins, their existence, and what it means to the people. But it is not so much the temples that strike your initial interest. For you see something familiar located within the temple structure to Poseidon. A large, tall, blackened, and now somewhat decorated obelisk. In fact, for Laertes now, I will say of particular note, you recognize this in a way that perhaps before never would have crossed your mind twice. This is a relic of the Old Kingdom.
Does it look like it's of the same design and/or purpose as the one we saw on the Atlas Island?
We'll say that you guys are walking by this large temple, the sanctuary structure. From what you can see, the lower half of it has been kind of decorated with hanging garlands of flowers and such, requiring either some really tall ladders or creative uses to attach them.
I imagine it's like half of the temple youngster's job is to sort of throw them like TP to decorate this thing.
Kind
And if
of.
they do it wrong, they have to get back to work.
It does look very similar to the pylons that existed on the Atlas Island that are used to keep the waters at bay.
So they had to build additional pylons.
And that's all for you.
No. I would say there would be this walk, stop, pause, and then an immediate beeline with no word, just completely. It's what is that? An out of place historical artifact kind of thing that doesn't make sense. It doesn't match the rest of the surroundings, and it's just that's not supposed to be here. And he's gonna start walking towards it without any announcement whatsoever.
This is why you have leashes for your children. So when this happens for your scientist folks, so when they see something shiny, they don't just go running off.
What
Themisto,
happens when he's the group dad?
right? Themisto, what were you gonna say?
His leash pulls on everyone else.
Right.
Yeah, Themisto is gonna hasten after him. Laertes. As she sort of trots
Yeah.
to keep up, dragging Phoebe with her.
I imagine he moves a lot quicker in these moments than maybe you would expect.
Yes.
He catches himself mid-step and lets you catch up, and he leans in to her. Doesn't that look familiar?
It caught my eye as well. Are you familiar with the story of the gods quarreling over who owned this place and the earthquakes that result?
Sure, you look at that with a slightly different eye now.
I have to wonder if perhaps there is something unseen that is doing it instead. A machine like the mighty Atlas, perhaps, beneath. Since she'll point at the obelisk that caught his eye.
Aaron, before I say anything, you had mentioned quakes and tremors. Is that an idea that would have permeated at the time, especially to Laertes, that those are a thing that exists? It's not just gods having polka dance battles. It's a potentially natural process that's happening.
I probably would say so.
Okay. Considering the idea, like, volcanoes is not new. People have seen those before.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah,
the
yeah.
idea of the ground gets angry now and again.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I wonder. On the island, they were used to alter and hold back the waves. I wonder if this has a related purpose to the ground.
That is, I thought.
How in the open is this obelisk? Like, it's basically, at the front and the temple's behind it, sort of thing, or
It is inside the temple courtyards.
okay. So the kind of thing where, for the sake of argument, if there's like a Star Trek glassy panel on it, if I go and start pressing buttons, people are going to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, we'll say that so the temple grounds or the sanctuary grounds, the temple is kind of itself to Poseidon is raised up a little higher, and then it has like a lower section that has the courtyard, like an outer courtyard that sits off to the side of it, where it has the staircase that goes up to the temple itself. This lower courtyard is where a lot of the supplicants come to, just like you guys had seen the day before, and have seen before, where sometimes people don't go all the way into a temple; they just go to like the front steps and leave their offerings on the door, basically on the doorstep or the staircase that goes up into these places. This outer courtyard, you see that there are various priests or aides, acolytes, you could say, that are all like tending to the people that are coming here. They either are coming here because they're, are ailing in some sort, or wanting to express some sort of prayer to Poseidon. So there's like intermediaries, I guess is the best way to, they kind of talk to the people if they don't want to try and proceed up the stairs to the temple itself. The obelisk is basically at the very center of this courtyard. The bottom of it has a kind of cylindrical marble stone covering to it that doesn't look like the ones that you had seen before on the Atlas Island. It looks like this has had it's had work done. It's had some additions that have been placed around it. It's almost like a large cylindrical column was started to have been built, like as if they were going to make this the obelisk the center of a column, right? So it was going to be the center point, and they had just placed one large section of cylindrical stone at the bottom, had decorated around the edges with like gold and depictions of the king of the seas and various of his progeny or things he is known for. Depictions of the sea. It's almost like it is less painting and more like, you realize as you get closer, mosaics of the tiny little squared variety. So what you would normally have thought to have found on the inside, where it would have those like Star Trek like glass panels, seems to have been covered up by this stone structure in the bottom.
Okay. Interesting. Did anyone other than Themisto follow, or?
I would have followed.
I mean, I would imagine
He had no choice.
it's one of those things
Kind
where
of like right now.
where you go off like this and the rest of the troop kind of is continuing, and then they all just kind of like make that serpentine follow the leader, kind of everyone's following in a line kind of situation. Have Astrid that comes up and it's like, this looks rather familiar.
Doesn't it just?
What is it doing so far away from any other ones?
He's going to tentatively reach out to touch the stone, but in this very like fingertippy sort of way, so as to not maybe offend anyone that's watching. It's just communing with the stone kind of thing as a sign of respect. It's just, I'm sure that they had many different designs for different purposes that were used in other places.
There are stories that the king of Corinthos wanted to cut through the land to control all of the sea back and forth. Perhaps this is why he could not. Or maybe there was a time this allowed them to do so. Far before Corinthos existed.
Can you imagine a river through the air or a strait.
Aaron,
Yep.
you've said before that these devices, especially considering I'm almost attuned to them in a sense, that I almost pick up on that static background hum, like a TV on mute in a different room kind of sound.
Mm-hmm. Make an
Am I
Arcana
getting
check.
it? Okay. Yeah, 15.
We'll say that at the moment, with like some of the noise of the people here in the temple square, it's kind of hard, a little harder to pick up on it versus like when you were in the on a quasi uninhabited island and it was a lot quieter, minus the your party members. Placing your hand on the mosaic around its base, you close your eyes and sense for a moment. And yes, there is almost a gentle thrum, a slight vibration.
Does it seem as or more or less powered than the island obelisk?
Less.
Less. Okay. Power saving mode. Got it. More efficient PSU. Maybe. He. This is midday, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
About noonish.
Just
Okay.
we're looking at this point after you're traveled a little bit, we're like two or so in the afternoon.
Okay. I'd really like to know what this does, but I also don't want to detract from where we need to be.
I mean, we could just ask tonight when we get to where we need to be.
Perhaps it could help us. This, I am sure, won't take long, right?
If this has a similar way to interact with it that the other ones did, it's underneath all of this. And he's referring to where his hand is placed.
Perhaps it is like Delos, where there was a secret chamber beneath the Temple of Apollo.
That's a thought.
I could entreat the priests to allow us to see. Perhaps they would grant someone like me permission to do so.
I mean, it couldn't hurt. I know we're on a bit of a clock, so I don't... Which haven't been invented yet. I know where...
A bit of a dial. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. I heard you, Cypress. I
know
heard you in your
time
head.
I was
know
actually
time
behind
is
me an
against us,
hourglass.
So I don't want to be the one that keeps us here.
Yes, of course. Well, if it seems to be too much, we will move on. Let me see if perhaps I can find a priest.
You wave one of the I'll say one of the workers. One of the temple acolytes over. A young man with hair that is finely braided backwards. It gives it's like when people of the sea have really tight braids to keep their hair from like going all over the place. It gives like he used to be a sailor perhaps, but is now a priest. He even has a couple of minor markings, tattoos, and scars on his arms as he comes over. Hi, hello, welcome to the Sanctuary of Poseidon. How may I help you?
My friend, thank you for the greeting. Tell me, do you know much about the history of this sanctuary? Are there lower chambers to this place? Is it built perhaps upon an older temple?
Make a persuasion check.
I will do that. You see, I am a priestess of Apollo myself, an aspirant for the. I am on a pilgrimage, and I would like to give tidings to Poseidon for the wonderful protection he has given us as much of this journey has been across the sea. But I would like to do so in a space that is fitting, of course. Not that this is not a beautiful place. But
Make it with advantage then.
awesome.
You sneaky name dropper, you. Excuse me, I'm like the Pythia to be. Can
I have it, I may as well use it.
I get a backstage pass.
I have $5,000
That increased
followers
that
on Tumblr.
to an 18 when it would
18?
have before an 18 when before it would have
Nice.
been only a lower than that.
Beautiful, beautiful. As far as I know, the High Priest Celix has never spoken of any underground chambers, though the temple grounds is one of ancient power. This monument, he like gestures to the obelisk, was here before the temple was constructed. It is said that Poseidon himself asked that this temple be erected here in its environs. But that was generations ago. And you know how stories are. Not that I am in any way doubting that this actually happened, of course. He kind of looks over over his shoulder as if anybody might have been listening.
I kind of glanced to see if he looked towards the sea at all as he was making that
More like looking around for a superior that may have been a higher ranking priest that may have been listening.
Yeah, because it would be interesting to hear this tradition as one of your high priests tells it sometime.
If you wish to speak to High Priest Celix, he is in the High Sanctuary up in the temple, but he is in the middle of rites at the moment. Perhaps when he is finished by sundown.
I would not want to disturb him. We are making haste to the north. The northeast.
Oh, where are you traveling?
We are headed to Thebes.
I've been to Thebes once or twice. As he's continuing the conversation, Amadeo, make a perception check for me.
Perception, huh?
It is a wonderful city. Have you been there before?
15?
He's continuing to talk to Themisto, asking if you've been to Thebes before.
Not the majority of us, no.
Well, he starts to go off talking about like one of his favorite places to visit, the temple, one of the temples that's there in Thebes itself. Also a smaller version of this temple to Poseidon, but still just as nice, and kind of goes on to talk about it a little bit. Amadeo, you notice that as you're like kind of just glancing around, you see that Mikos is leaning over Mog and like whispering something in their ear. And they're just kind of like having a little conversation, and then seeing you look in their direction, he kind of straightens up and just kind of like gives you a raised eyebrow and starts looking around at the somewhat wealthy patrons that are coming and going from this place.
Something falls off of their purses. I'm sure no one would notice.
You kind of give that in a facial. He just kind of like nods slowly and just kind of continues to like look around.
I'll just shrug.
Yeah. The young priest continues on, and then he's like, so if you find yourself, in desire to learn more about the King of the Seas, then by all means, the high priest there, Bias, I believe, is still high priest, and I'm sure he would be more than happy to take you on a tour of the grounds there if you wish to see it.
That does sound wonderful. Because Celix is in the middle of rites, do you think perhaps we could take a closer look at this stone ourselves? You see, I travel with two scholars, one from Elam and one who is itinerant.
He turns. Are you just speaking to Mal?
Yeah.
He turns to where you are gesturing, and Mal is like right next to him. She goes, "Hello," and he's like, "Ah."
They are documenting our journey. It would be wonderful to record something about such an old and special place.
It indeed is very marvelous, this place that you have made your home.
She says, and it's like she says it in as you know, a very like sincere way, but to someone who's only just met Maal. So someone who's only just met Maal, he's just kind of like leaning slightly away from her.
Aaron, I hear side eye in that voice. What are you talking about?
Damn you.
Would be a lovely home. It would be a shame if something happened to it.
There is slightly a small tremor that you feel on the ground. Just a little bit of a vibration that starts in the ground and then somehow kind of like echoes across the sky. You see the young man just like looks up and is like, "Oh, I have to remember to keep my respect in my voice, I guess." I'm sorry, I was distracted. What you asked about Celix's rights?
No. Because she is busy, I was hoping perhaps our scholars who are here to document this site could.
Yes. I was
just that.
startled a little. He takes like a side scooch step away from Al. Sure, you're welcome to look around the grounds as you wish. Just call for me if you need anything. My name is Kodoros.
Of course, Kodoros, thank you for your hospitality. I will make sure to mention your name as we make our offering.
That would be appreciated. The ancient Greek equivalent of leaving a nice Yelp review.
Dear Yelp, Corduroy over here was a great server.
Corduroy. Oh my gosh, amazing. Okay,
Could be worse. Could have called him cordyceps.
true.
Cordon bleu.
Cord- High Priest Cordon Bleu. Okay. I'll write this down real quick. Okay. Laertes, do you wish to do some investigating around, or
If no one else wants to do anything else, yeah, very much.
what would you like to? What would you like to do exactly?
How many people are around the obelisk right now? Is it kind of a little bit dead at this time of the afternoon, or
It's probably about a dozen or so that are in the immediate vicinity. About an easy 100 within the courtyard itself.
okay? So there's a lot of people.
A decent amount, yeah.
Yeah.
And now that the rumble and then the thunder, I mean, it is slightly cloudy, but the rumble across the sky and this compared to you, there is now kind of a excited hush that has fallen over, and then a little bit of a rising of a buzz as they're like, "Oh my gosh, did you feel the tremble of Poseidon? He must have struck the ground," or they just kind of like hop
Did I
up a little more.
Feel anything shift in that energy from the obelisk itself? Spike, ebb.
Make an Arcana check.
Okay. $16.
Enough confidence to feel like if there had been any sort of change, you would have felt it.
Okay.
So
The mister's gonna lean into Laertes and say, perhaps with the crack of thunder, this is our chance. If you do anything that changes the nature of the place, I am sure they will attribute to Poseidon, a work of the gods. I know I would have.
I'm going to give her the slyest look that maybe has been shared between the two of us.
oh no.
I think between any campaign I've ever been with Iskra, it's just, Themisto, are you giving me license to tamper with a religious artifact in the middle of a temple?
Are you gonna say that out loud or just with your eyes?
I'm whispering it to her.
Yeah. S- Well, times have changed.
Let's see if I can at least do this in a non-destructive manner.
Not
first.
quite admitting fully to herself completely changing, but saying the situation calls for it.
Well, time to go start flipping some tables.
oh no.
Ooh, that's a reference.
Yeah.
Laertes is going to sort of step around, I guess, maybe more towards the back of the obelisk, so it's less obvious. And he's just going to press his hand with his eyes closed against the stone, trying to see if there's a greater reaction of some manner of interface, especially as he spent more time recently reworking how that, well, up until recently he wouldn't have even called it Cleosite, that little crystal he walks around with. He would have called it something like a dynamo or an intellechy or something more in his lexicon, but taking on the more proper word for it and knowing how it works more. It's almost like he's trying to tune into how there has to be some shared aspect of the technologies There usually is. And he's just trying to see if, okay, if I'm hovering my hand over this side, is that where the interface is? Is it on the front? Is it on the back? Almost like he's trying to... Best word I can really think of it is, while clutching the crystal in his hand, trying to Bluetooth connect to it without trying to disrupt the stonework around it, trying to be as non-destructive, non-disruptive.
And this is you using your
Yeah, my little...
your device, your crystal.
Mhm. Being discreet with it. Like, he's not just like waving it around like, Egon and the EK meter. It's he's just holding in his hand in one hand while pressing his hand against the wall.
Okay.
Just trying to see if there's a way to access it in less touch screeny kind of ways.
Make make an Arcana check, if you will, please.
Okay. While I'm doing this, I'd like to test something that you've given me in the recent upgrade.
Sure.
I want to use a point to subtle cast Fortune's Favor.
Okay.
Let's go mark that off. And then I'm gonna do that.
We are being bold, so Fortune's Favor makes sense. Right?
Yeah, 19. Let me know if that's enough.
19. 19 would be enough to realize that there's, while this thing has a low power, like you said, it is kind of in a low powered state, there doesn't seem to be any sort of connection to be made.
So you're saying that at 19, that's what I get. But if I were to go more,
I mean, with confidence, it's not connecting.
I'm here. I might as well do it. That's also a 19. I could roll it again too. That's the worst thing.
Nice.
Screw it. We're here. Let's go big or go home.
All
No,
right,
that's
come on,
actually
come on.
worse. So we'll go with the 19. I have literally spoken.
Do you do any sort of like detect magic with this, or
If I'm not getting anything out of that immediately, yeah, it's not detect. It'd be more identify would be the way of going about it. Because I already know it's a thing. It's more
Yeah.
because I want to know what it does.
right?
I have a theory, but theory is being put aside to actually learn what it does proper. It's more what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
And with the intent of not changing anything about it. I'm not trying to make it do something else. I'm not trying to
right.
dial or down the setting. I just want to know what it does first, if I can.
Okay. So go ahead and with. Do you have to touch it with identify?
Yes, but I feel like if I put my hands like either against it or
It's like it's
through the
kind of
stone, or just
touchy.
for
So
half a foot above the stone to the non-embellished part of it, just touch the obelisk itself. I feel like that could work.
okay. So you do that.
Mhm.
Amadeo, I need you to roll insight for what I just sent you, and also, what Cypress? What are you doing in all of this?
Cypress is mostly looking on, but also considering that Laertes is potentially doing something that the temple wouldn't like. He's probably keeping an eye out.
got a 17, Aaron.
Heard. Phoebe, what are you doing?
I'll keep an eye on the courtyard in case someone notices that Laertes is up to shenanigans.
Beautiful. Make a perception
Science.
check. Make a perception check for me.
Can I help Phoebe's perception check?
You can make your own. Since you are doing
Good,
this-
because I got a 7. I am distracted because we are only
Well,
like 2 hours removed from
I rolled a
emotional
2.
trauma.
Yeah, that's fair enough. What did you get?
A 2.
A 2. Beautiful. That's great. Okay.
Me rolling to help you is not helpful.
The worst thing I could have done.
Well, I mean, honestly, in this situation, Cypress,
We're
you
hopefully
have,
fine.
you have seen Phoebe. Would you say, Phoebe, that you have kind of like not necessarily retracted into yourself, but you've kind of like
Oh no, I think she has very much.
okay. So there's a little bit of while you guys are keeping an eye out, Cypress, your attention is on your friend, your companion here, and her emotional state. And in that, I would imagine that you probably go over to her and kind of just show silent but near emotional support by standing close by, as you both kind of keep an eye on your mad scientist, but also the environments that are around.
Has Maal gone off to do her own like?
She's currently like
anthropological
she's
questioning.
she's kind of like looking around at the temple, but also, to be fair, you guys are her anthropological study, so she is kind of more like noting what you guys are doing from the side, also kind of looking around, but more so like occasional little scrawlings on her scroll that she has. Yeah. So, Laertes, as you touch this, and your mind, well, how do I say this? Doesn't necessarily like sink into the into the depths of the rock, but to an extent it does. Like you can feel your presence, your mind's presence going deeper inside. All the rest of the world kind of shifts away. And though this stone itself is not magical of any sort because it has been built onto the base of this obelisk, you realize that this wasn't built. This was raised from the ground in such a way that the ground itself had become, and the obelisk bottom had become almost fused together. This was for D&D terms, this was like a mold earth to cover
column?
the column at the bottom of the obelisk, to kind of cover what was at its base, so as to hide whatever this was or whatever this is from others' eyes. So even though it itself is not magical, it is technically still a part of the obelisk now because they have been basically fused together. But you dive deeper enough into this rock that you can sense the power that is dormant currently within it. Identify allows you to know that it is a pylon the same as the ones on the Atlas engine. This one not off, but not activated. You get the sense that it is in a holding, a waiting, and that their power that is being fed into it goes into the ground and off in a direction underground. And as you it's kind of like sensing the power conduit that's beneath your feet, but you can only sense it so far because the limitations of stone and ground beneath you kind of obscure it from your perception after a little ways. But it is being fed power, and it is dormant but seems to be waiting in case of an emergency. It doesn't take a brilliant mind to kind of put together that this is a failsafe. Your mind goes to the stories that Astrid has told you about the great flood that had nearly obliterated the world. And then this sanctuary, this place of where Poseidon has deemed this is a safe place. He has ensured a way that if some terrible cataclysm were to befall this realm or this area, people would be able to come to the Temple of Poseidon and find refuge from a possible inundation.
Good word.
Thanks. You focus out of your inner mind's eye and kind of look down to the ground where you felt that power cable sort of go. It goes to the northeast. You also, as you look over, see Mog is like directly behind you. It kind of just like what? It's just like she's very close, very intently looking at what you were doing. Amadeo, you saw no malicious intent, but there was definitely a pointed curiosity as to what he was doing. She was watching him very carefully, watching his every move, his gestures, where his hands were being placed. And suddenly, her hand had gone to her hilt, the hilt of her dagger. Just like, not like she was grabbing onto it, but just kind of like close to it. And you've never felt like she was going to move on it, but she was close. And she just looks as Laertes is looking over at him, at them, and is just like, "What'd you see?"
Do I notice the not grip of the blade, but the preponderance of a hand near the hilt?
From your angle, because this blade is behind their back.
Okay.
It's kind of like they look like they're leaning in with that like one arm behind to kind of like counterbalance kind of thing. You've seen them do this motion before, and they grab the haft of the battle axe, because that being kind of the heaviest thing on their back, it's kind of like what they wind up just grabbing to kind of balance themselves. But they were leaning in really close to you and just kind of like, "What you doing over there?"
And he's going to gesture for them to step around to his side.
They do.
What do you see when you look at this?
A really tall, pointy rock.
Not entirely wrong.
What do you see when you look at it?
The hand... Could I have your hand for a moment?
What are you gonna do with it?
Nothing sinister.
Okay, Grandpa.
He's going to take their hand and put it against the obelisk directly. Not the stone around the base, but the obelisk itself. Look at where you are. Look at this piece of history.
Immediately, her hand kind of pulls away. I don't think I should be touching it then, right? It's probably not allowed or whatever.
I will tell anyone if you want.
Okay.
Here's the question. Which happened first? The temple? Or this?
Didn't that guy over there say that this was here first?
Glad you were paying attention.
Or wasn't?
So then here's the better question. If this was here first, who and why?
I mean, his name's on like every side of this place.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because he wanted to show off.
Maybe. So, but you're not answering the real question. Why is it here? Like you said, it's a pointy rock. What purpose does that serve?
Guess if you had like a really big giant and they fell on it, that'd be pretty bad. You see Astrid go, wasn't there one of these at the bottom of the sea whenever I saw you, Amadeo?
Probably.
I forgot to tell you about that, by the way. And he begins to recount part of the story. Well, maybe she's already told part of the story already about how she had rescued Eric's from the pirates, and how their little pirate village underwater was located next to a pylon that was a lot smaller, partially broken, but was still underwater and had created a bubble of space. And that is where they had kept their air-breathing prisoners tied up against this rock. As Astrid is going into this story, you see Maud kind of just like shuffle away as Mikos comes up to Amadeo. We going to be going soon?
Oh, let them have their fun.
I will wait for you outside the temple then. He like casually, hands in pockets, strolls off towards the entrance of the courtyard. We're gonna say Laertes.
Sorry, maybe I misunderstood one thing. Is the power cable, is it that what's feeding this, or is power going into this and running up the cable?
The power, the cable is feeding power to this device.
Okay, I was making sure.
You remember the time before on the island, you start thinking back on it. There was something similar in that setup, but they all led to the center of the island where the Atlas device itself was.
Just making sure. The way I heard it at first made it seem like it was feeding power into this.
It is
and
being
then running
fed
north.
power.
Okay.
It is
From something up north. Okay.
from something to the northeast.
What do I know is northeast?
Thebes.
Okay. Just a checking. Okay. Do I know of a way, based on everything I've seen, to give it just an extra little bit of power?
You would have to feed it energy from a source.
Okay. What if I could just burn a higher level spell slot as just a little moat,
Sure, we wish to do so.
just to... It might only ever buy it an extra day, an extra hour. But depending on the situation that happens, that might be absolutely critical. So I'm going to. Well, no one else is looking, and if I have to use another subtle spell thing, I'll do it. But he's going to close his eyes, lean his hand directly against the obelisk, not the stone base itself, and bleed out a little bit of that energy, giving it somewhere to go. Wondering if releasing it in this way somehow is easier on his body than how he's been using it.
Interesting.
And I'm going to use a 4th level spell slot to try and give it just a little more time, a little more juice.
Sure. Nice. Themisto.
Can I say, as Laertes is doing this, Themisto has started to go ahead and perform the actions of giving a ritual offering here at the obelisk, something that would help both be a legitimate prayer, but also just to serve as a visual distraction, just in case, with the people in the courtyard be like, oh, look at the priestess doing things.
I will say that probably as Laertes is doing this, it's not necessarily like him doing Kamehameha and like being a big power display into the obelisk. I'm imagining as you were trying to be subtle about it, you're placing your hand on the stone again.
Mhm.
What do you have in mind, Themisto, to kind of like try and diffuse whatever he's doing? Because I might like try and wrap these in a nice little bow.
Sure. So, since her blade is her focus,
Mhm.
she will have struck her incense censer, and again taken a bit of her usual offerings of honey and bay and placed them at the base of the obelisk or the platform where people would leave such things. And then she's going to take her body and her sword and make sort of a rolling wave pattern with them, going from her one side over in front of her, sweeping, taking the blade, flipping it, and kind of doing the reverse in a very almost Tai Chi sort of looking motion, to give her prayer to invoke the god of the sea.
There is a moment while you are doing this that the light catches the glint from the sword as the clouds part just enough as it's starting to get a little cloudier. One of those last little god rays that kind of flicks down into this courtyard. It catches and reflects the light, and you can see that some of the people in the area are looking over at you guys now. Astrid stands on your other side and bows her head in reverence. Both Davos and Xanthus like flank you behind and also hold their shields like up high in a like mock salute, and the light kind of reflects off of their shields and kind of catches in different directions. Laertes' casting of his power into this stone seems to be diffused with the light that is now like not quite disco balling all over the courtyard, but it is in that sense kind of like shooting off in different directions, like as it goes here and there. You see that power You see that power flicker out from his hand in that golden orange way of his power as it kind of like catches the sunlight just enough to where it creates a dazzling brilliance to the stone and tile. Oh my gosh, what is the word? Not the tiles, but the mosaic. The mosaic itself. It almost like, not necessarily does it light the surface of them, but it kind of like makes them glint and shine all the way across. But it seems to be a part of that catching of the light. And it is a moment where they all kind of just stop and observe. One of the superiors, priest, comes over. Kodros informed me that you are visiting the priestess from Python. Welcome.
Thank you. I shall return the bow.
I am Epias.
I am a pious too.
I've not heard that one before. I see that they have not lost their sense of humor in Delphi.
Any chance we priests and priestesses get to make a religious joke with other clergy, you know?
Indeed. I've forgotten the name. What was the name of your master?
The Pythia.
Yes.
Her name is Hariklo.
Cariclo, that's right.
Can we drop that into chat for spelling?
Sure.
I had to pause it. It's unusual for me to speak it. I normally only use her title.
I once visited Delphi many years ago, but only in passing. We will give her my regards the next time you are there in the temple.
I shall do just that. Hopefully, my reunion will be sooner than later.
Well, I hope that Kodros says you are on your way to Thebes. I pray that Poseidon keeps you safe on your journey. It is not far, but far enough. And as I understand, there is an ocean now around Thebes, so that's new. Just kidding.
Yes, the
It's
world
always
is
been there.
changing.
It's always been there. But yes, hopefully you have a safe journey.
Can I ask, when you were last in Delphi, did you ask the Pythia anything in her capacity?
I don't think I am allowed to reveal such things, even if you are an aspirant. But we did speak of holy things. She said that she had a few very promising acolytes and aspirants. I'm assuming she probably spoke of you.
I hope that I was among them, yes.
I did not get to meet any, so unfortunately, We never were able to cross paths until now, but it is a pleasure to meet you,
Themisto.
Themisto. Well, I hope that your visit to the sanctuary was a pleasant one. It definitely was eye-catching.
I don't mean to be grand with my displays, but it is what Poseidon deserves.
It has been my experience that most Pythias do tend to be a little bit on the showman side. For a good reason, of course.
Our reputation precedes us.
Well, I will leave you to your worship. I just wanted to introduce myself.
Our blessings go with you, Apaios. Thank you.
And with you, Themisto. And with the rest of you as well. I will make sure to offer something delicious. He looks over at Amadeo and immediately his eyes kind of narrow. Just like... he turns away. You see Kolderos comes up to him as they're like walking away, and Kolderos is like, "Have you seen my my golden amulet? I feel like I dropped it somewhere." No, I have not. You should keep better track of your things, Kolderos. I swear I just had it. They just kind of go off walking away. Okie dokie. Anything else you guys want to do here before you head out? Alrighty. You continue out of the sanctuary and back into the city of Izmia. As you are walking, you pass one of the smaller temples to Demeter. And there's a moment, Phoebe, where you slow your pace as you look at the temple and its grounds around it. It has a rather lovely garden, as one would be expectant. A garden that is not just for beauty, but also provides what seems like fruits currently in season, but also looks like it has a couple of tilled rows that are growing some sort of perhaps fall harvest crops. You can see several of the priestesses that are kind of tending to the garden with these large straw-brimmed hats that keep them safe from the sun, since we're now making those cannons since the dawn of time.
I'm pretty sure that they existed for the time period.
I'm sure. Amadeo, as you guys are walking out or walking through the city, Mikos comes over to you and from his pocket pulls out a small golden amulet, little circular, with a trident on it. It's like, look what I found on the floor.
I swear you had gone the other way. Very well done.
Shrugs. Could come in handy. You never know.
You never know. We travel with those who might be watching.
Phoebe, what were you gonna say?
Astrid, did you have any extra fig seeds?
Oh yeah, sure. Hold on, let me look in my bags. And she looks in the bags, pulls out a dried fig.
Just a moment. I want to run up to like the closest Demeter priestess.
Mhm.
It's not much, but to be planted for her.
Okay. I appreciate it, child. We haven't been able to make figs grow here. Maybe this will be the lucky one.
Maybe.
Your name,
Phoebe.
so that I might offer it to the goddess. In your name, Phoebe. You are very beautiful.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yes.
Okay. You guys continue on your way out of Ismia. It is now probably about 3:30, 4 in the afternoon. Let's see. Okay. As you guys head out, Laertes, what were you going to say?
As we're stepping out, the group's kind of getting together a little bit, I assume.
Mhm.
I'll lead in a little more conspiratorially to Cyprus, but it's enough for Phoebe and Themisto to hear. I had a thought about why Thebes. And don't take this the wrong way, Cyprus. I didn't understand why Thebes of all places was a targeted destination. The obelisk seems to be fed by something in the northeast. At least that's the feeling I have. Northeast is Thebes.
Let's see.
Yeah, the spirit, the life force that powers it, you mean?
I hesitate to say whatever it is, but something.
And what do you think will be the result if the power of that obelisk goes down?
Imagine that island under the sea with none of those barriers to hold back the ocean. Another flood or something worse.
Well, we must prevent that, obviously. Well, thank you, Laertes. It's grim information, but it's good.
At least now we have an idea of maybe a goal of what they're after.
Absolutely.
Tells us more than we knew a moment ago. Or at least gives us a theory to work with.
Cypress,
Yes.
make a history check for me.
Oh no.
Do I see the cogs turning in Cyprus?
Yeah.
I might
I
be
mean-
fine. That is a 19.
Hey.
No minuses on history.
Laertes is talking to you about this. And a sudden thought occurs to you. Thebes is filled with rumors. It's a magical place in more ways than one. It sits there in the center of the sea, a large port to its north. It kind of goes in a slant upwards towards the back so that the higher points of the back end of the city that are wider, where most of the temples and the palace sit, kind of overlook the rest of Thebes all the way to the docks, right? There are stories of the origins of the city and that it dates back to the First Kingdom. in that now that he's mentions it, you remember some of your nursemaids when you and Astarion were boys, who tells stories of a great complex that sits beneath the city of Thebes, sprawling and labyrinth-like. It was said that from it springs the source of power and life for much of the world. The world being a, general term for the immediate vicinity, but the world. And your eyes kind of widen. And that's where we're going to go to break.
Yay.
Yeehaw. Visions of the final dungeon.
What are you going to do when you first get to Thebes? Well, I'm going to go to the basement, make sure that it's what, and check that all the plugs are safe.
Make
Up
sure
to
it's
code.
Martel, am I the only one that got visions of the giant golden bespeckled palace from 40K where the God Emperor
Oh my gosh.
rests?
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
But
Don't
you
worry
gotta
about it, I'm
make
sure it's
sure that
fine.
the pilot light
Where's the Emperor?
is still on the water heater.
You just see Phobos kind of just inches away from that little pilot light, just cut to black, and that's how that session ends.
Do not touch my stuff. Get away from my wires.
All right, we'll be right back, guys. Don't go nowhere. caw. Dookie, dookie, dookie. I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I should not drink caffeine
is
before.
that? From that George of the Jungle?
Yes. I didn't think anybody would know what that was. Oops.
Brendan Fraser, 90s Brendan Fraser is one of the reasons I know I'm not fully lesbian.
That's funny.
I see you have questions, Graham.
Nothing I'm gonna say on air.
With the presidents of the United States of America doing the song for that film as well. I saw them live at Superior National Golf Course in Luton, Minnesota.
That is such a strange place to have a concert.
They
Was it
were
a golf
playing at
course?
the bar there. Yeah.
I was imagining it on the greens. I was like,
They
wow,
were
that's...
not out on the green.
Okay.
It was a much smaller little thing, which
Nice.
was surprising because at that point they were already famous. So it's weird that they were playing that little tiny venue.
That's funny. I haven't heard any music of theirs in a long time.
Me neither.
That just threw me way back. Like, I think that one of their songs on Guitar Hero or something. It was like one of those games.
Yeah.
That's where I first discovered them. Okay. Anyway. Let's see here. All right, you guys continue to travel. I pulled up my map.
Magara's next.
Yeah, but I try and remember if you guys will make it in time before sunset.
That's what you told us last time.
Well, I know, but that was if you had gone all the way through Ismio without stopping. Why do you think I threw out a thing for you to distract yourselves with? It is a little further of a walk. Okay.
I would like to find the nearest train and get.
Is there a Bucky's on the way?
Yeah. No, there's
When
a
did you become Texan?
There's a Valero. Okay. Anything you guys are wanting to do or anything as you are traveling?
Well,
No.
I did a lot in the first half, so don't look at me.
Okay. I'm assuming that's a no. So we will continue on. As the sun begins to set, Mikos comes back over to Amadeo. Captain, what do you think of these stories of these wild men that we have heard of so much of? Should we be cautious?
Oh, certainly. We
Or
are
do-
heading into dangerous territory, I think.
If you had said dangerous waters, I would have been very disappointed.
I almost did. I am already disappointed. There is probably something to it. Have you seen anything?
Not as we've been walking, no. But he leans in conspiratorially. There has been a few rumors that I have heard in some of these cities we have passed as of late. These wild men. Not quite men. And they don't steal. They just kill. So, yes. I've been keeping an eye out, but I just didn't know if you think there would be more to this than what I had heard. I know the company. I know the company that we speak, that we are in mixed company with, but I feel uneasy. It has been too long since we have been on the water.
I understand that feeling. They may know. You could ask them. Well, I could if you don't want to.
Ask them what?
About the wild men.
They're too busy looking at their shiny rocks, staring up at the heavens.
Shiny and pointy.
He looks over at Mog and like shakes his head. The young one still has much to learn, but they have a keen eye. I think they like to play dumb.
I agree. Do you think they know more than they should?
I think that they are lacking in what they should know. But I see no reason to worry. I think they made off with a handful of gold in the last city. A couple of coin purses here and there as we were leaving.
Most profitable venture.
Provided we survive to the end, that is what I'm afraid of.
You have traveled long enough with me to know that we will. Somehow.
Traveled long enough with you, yes. Traveled long enough with these god folk, no.
If anything too crazy happens, we're out. Don't worry.
Pinky promise. It's
I
binding.
swear on my honor as a pirate.
That means nothing.
Yes, pinky promise.
Everybody like turns around. Samadeo just like suddenly starts laughing. The contract is sealed. The ancient Fey promise of the Pinky. But now the sun has begun to set. And you are still, as per your map and whoever's guiding this crazy expedition, you will be making it to Megara after nightfall. Do you wish to try and find a place to stop for the night here, or do you wish to press on to get to Megara?
How far into nightfall?
A few hours. Easily.
We got torches.
We do, and Astrid is navigator of the stars.
I was like, because I kept thinking of Sonder, and I was like, no, Sonder was a navigator the last time. He's not. He's not the navigator. Oh wait, no, he is. He does. I was like, oh wait, no. You're right.
He's got a type.
Yeah.
There's ocean affiliations, good at maps.
Yep. That's fair. That's very fair. Okay.
Wields a big stick.
Wow, you are right. I had not put any of these things together until just now. He's got a type. All right.
And his Kids on Bikes character was basically the same.
Just the younger version. Oh no, you right though.
Hey, I love my little brother.
Okay. Then, because Astrid's not here, I will have you all roll a perception check for me.
Perception or survival?
Keeping an eye out. We'll let him deal with survival.
I'm rolling so bad tonight.
Well,
16.
16.
9.
I am rolling so consistently in the same place on the dice that I'm wondering if it has now somehow become rigged. In my favor, happily, but it's just very odd statistically. um, 24.
Damn.
I have a lot of snakes that help me with perception.
That's fair.
10.
Beautiful. You guys walk as the sun has fallen and into the night, following a rocky path that leads around hills and valleys, through forests, orchards, and fields. A little walking montage as you guys stay in the center of the screen as the world, anime world, passes you by.
On the way. On the way.
The night is brightly, well, it is lit with stars and no moon. At one point, because of the high perception roll by Themisto, there is a whoosh that goes by overhead, as if something had flown by. A disturbance in the air, not a flapping of wings, just that as something goes overhead. And you look up and you swear some distance above your heads, some winged beast flies probably 100, maybe 200 feet in the air. Just goes by.
What size of beast are we talking here?
Large. But
Okay.
because of the lack of moon, it's more you see the movement of something passing between you and the stars. So like you
That's no
see it.
moon.
Yeah. There is no moon. There's just something, its wings spread, that just goes and flies over, basically kind of going from like over hill to another hill.
Does it come back, or is it just the one pass?
Just the one pass.
Okay.
But this was the roll of an over 20. As otherwise it would have been nigh invisible to the senses.
No.
Something goes with us tonight, and I don't mean the gods.
Astrid looks up. Did you see something?
A large pair of wings.
Sonder face. Okay.
How large?
Sizable.
I don't know. It was up in the air, but I don't know how high. But bigger than any usual vulture or buzzard, the normal things that would be that size.
We should get to Megara as soon as possible.
Well, if it is just the one, I'm still feel like we are safe with our company and capabilities if we make sure we are not picked off in the night.
Davos and
Perhaps
Xanthus grab an unsheathed spear and keep shield close and ready, while keeping an eye on the skies.
Perhaps it is best if we make sure we stay close. And well, we should have our torches, but most of us should stay slightly beyond them. I see you know. So arise just to the night.
Okay.
The idea being that, like, you know, maybe some of us should stand in the center with the torches and then people, like, with them to their backs. Not that they're outside of the light that they're
Yeah.
giving off, but just that there's, like, a protective ring around the torch holders.
Heard.
If
I'll
it
be.
if it comes down to it, and we're feeling threatened and still in the sky, I could possibly bring it down to us
Hmm.
and just have at.
I can't jump hundreds of feet in the air, but I can get a lot higher than it might suspect. And of course, we have you, Phoebe.
Maybe it will just continue on tonight.
It's my hope.
Mog takes off the battle axe and puts it like almost if it were a gun, she would have cocked it and got it ready. Like she's just holding it. They're holding it like ready to swing. Just keeping it
She
head down.
extended it like a bloodborne weapon.
They're pretty great. I like to think of it. It's their battle axe as well as their battle axe.
I'm thinking of Scary Movie 3 where they cock the shovel like a shotgun and the shell goes in.
Mikos cracks knuckles. Margetta loosens shoulders like she's ready to like brawl. You guys continue.
I don't know why, but at least I feel as if in some extra spiritual sense we will not be surprised if something comes at us now.
Probably not. You guys are keeping a higher lookout. It doesn't change the fact that as you progress through the night, your heart continue to beat faster. There is that coolness that comes at the depths of the night once the sun has been gone for so long that the air kind of crisps a little. The edges of passing creeks, ponds, pools begins to fog slightly. And the air just has that otherworldly feel to it. What you see in the distance as you round one of the hills is the distant city of Megara that is stationed at the top. You still probably have about like 2 or 3 miles to go. But you can see it now. The lights at the top of the hill, the citadel of Caria. What are you going to say, Laertes?
How long would it take us to cross 2 to 3 miles on foot? Because this is hour or two.
No.
If we run super fast, less than half an hour.
Okay. In the realm of possibility.
Probably about another hour or so.
Okay.
We'll say. I feel
would've
like it's a
done
little
this-
longer than that, but
Yeah, I would have done this earlier in the trek, but we got into the narration of it. Since people were holding torches, I would have keyed into them and I would have tried something I've been wanting to for a little bit.
Mhm.
The flames don't seem to grow hotter. They don't seem to chew through whatever fuel they're given any faster. But somehow, the light that they emit doubles. The range of the light doubles, giving us this more of a bubble against the darkness as we travel through the night.
is this a spell?
It is a cantrip.
What is it?
Control flames.
Very nice.
We're learning from each other.
I'm also thinking back to what would have prompted this, and it was the dream that you gave him. We're showing him various elements that make up nature: water, stone, flame, and how ultimately it's all the same thing, just at a different energy state.
Was Laertes the avatar before Iskra was?
Oh no.
So, yeah, that's just something he was tinkering with.
Okay. Reaching. Continuing on. What?
The question too. You're pretty right, at least according to the quick internet-ing. It would be roughly an hour for 3 miles, and plus an additional hour for every 2,000 feet of ascent.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned it was uphill.
The city of Megara is kind of oh my gosh, what was the name of the other city you guys left before Corinthos?
Isthmia?
Before Corinthos. The other
the one that Callisto was
Destroyed one?
No, before that.
Argos.
Argos. Oh, maybe God, was it even before Argos? What was the other citadel? It was like a fortress city that you guys had been in. In any case.
Oh, on the water, kinda, where the
Thyrea.
Thyrens. Yeah. So Thyrens. So kind of in that sense where it's like a fortress that has a city built around it. Megara also has a citadel at the top of a hill that has like city built around it. So while the citadel sits on top, there is like the hill kind of just goes down. There is like city and temple space that goes around it the closer you get. Upon reaching the edges of the city, you find the gates are closed.
Are they like their own thing, or is it like Corinthian soldiers who occupy the citadel here?
They are their own thing at this point in time.
Are there soldiers manning the closed gates, or is it like no admittance till sunrise?
There aren't any visible guards on the outside of the city, outside of the gates. There is a wall, and there are maybe passing guards. You can see that on parts of the wall there are torches that light that kind of moves across, but nobody seems to be like watching the gate at the moment.
We can camp here. It will be safer having the wall at our back. And in the morning we can get in and pass through.
How does that feel, everybody?
Personally, I'd rather be behind the gates. But if we don't want to immediately get on anyone's bad side by being strangers at the pier when the sun comes up, willing.
Yeah, with the additional support, I think we will probably be okay.
I'm not against it, but we could try just knocking on the gate to see if anyone answers.
It's true. Anyone opposed to that? I don't.
Gonna kind of gauge Phoebe's expressions. Is there a reason that she just doesn't want to go in?
No, it's just not seeing anybody.
The Mr. will shrug.
All right. Cypress then will attempt to bang on what either the flat of the gate itself, or if there's some obvious knocker, and hail people inside. I see you, Drea.
It wasn't just me. There were 3 of us who made a face.
But yours is right below my picture. any obvious knockers on this door.
My brain went immediately to Young Frankenstein.
I was looking up the name right now.
Oh, thank you.
What knockers? You beat on the door. And there's first no response, and then a guard comes up over to the edges of the wall and kind of peers over. Who goes there?
Travelers with a poor judge in timing.
I'm afraid the city gates are locked for the time being.
Are they open in the morning with the sun?
That is the hope. Creatures were sighted outside the city, so as a precaution, we're not letting anybody inside.
At all?
There's no response.
Is it alright if we camp against the city wall? It would do us better knowing that someone is looking out while we rest.
You may do as you wish. But we will be watching. Don't do anything foolish.
Well, if you're watching us, then that should help us rest better.
You hear a pff. A scoffing sound comes from above. And you can hear them like he is talking to one of the other guards as they're kind of talking up there at the top.
Either they're lousy guards or they're vigilant guards. Either way could benefit us.
No, I think they're vigilant, especially if the creature we saw made its way this direction.
Well, I guess we sleep here.
Davos and Xanthus kind of nod. We'll scout around the walls, make sure that there's no others that are lurking about in the corners. I'll be right back.
Thank you, Davos.
I was about to say that 6 traveler. Gosh, my tongue. I was going to say that 6 travelers were going to try and get entry, but looking at our crowd, there's more like 15
You got 12.
of us.
Yeah, there's a bunch of you. I think we counted it last time. There's 4 with Amadeo, the 2 Spartans, Maal, and you guys.
We do look
We
like
are
a wild bunch
certainly-
of raiders.
We're the world's men.
Yes.
We seek entry into your
Clearly.
defenseless town.
Hey, listen, you could
None
be
of
the
us
mob.
are pirates.
You could be the mob boss for all they know.
That's not true.
We like to call ourselves the sea people. Don't ask questions.
Phoebe's going to quickly set up her camping gear and then kind of get in a meditative position. She has something she wants to do.
Themisto is going to go ahead and set up her little lean-to that she keeps folded up in her pack around the position that Phoebe set down her things.
Cypress will, assuming that he will at least be watching for another hour or so, won't take first watch or won't go to sleep immediately. He will try something he hasn't before and practice some deep breathing techniques and attempt to exert his will over his body. He is able to do that in increasingly intricate and finite ways, channeling it through his sword, channeling it through his limbs, and he's going to attempt to channel it into his eyes in a way that he hasn't. Before it had been flashes for brief sight, but he's now going to try and subtly increase his perception. See better in the darkness, perceive sounds, and perceive things that might mean enemies are approaching. And he will focus on this as he casts Enhance Ability, Owl's Wisdom on himself.
What timing?
I know. That's why I laughed. I was like, oh.
I thought when we had an hour left, I was going to do it then. but-
Phoebe will offer to take last watch so she can be up with the sunrise.
Hold on. We have a druid that's trying to get in.
What?
This is not going to be weird. Okay, hold on.
I am half out.
Time to play musical
I'm
chairs a little bit.
Cypress.
There we go.
And
Boop,
Phoebe
boop,
and the
boop.
Mistral Perfect as always.
Yeah, you're the easy ones. You're at the top corners. I don't have to move you guys. So with Owl's wisdom, you get what?
Advantage on any
Perception
wisdom
checks? Okay.
Wisdom checks.
Wisdom. Yeah. Heard though. Okay.
For
Out.
an hour.
Heard.
Which is probably not long enough, but at least for an hour.
It's the boy.
Hello.
Hello.
You see-
Hello.
You hear the as Astrid sets up her stuff, you hear the wolf howling, the hooting of the owl. Cypress
yeah, that
looks-
was Cypress.
You look out into the darkness, and there are lights that are kind of there are like little torches and braziers that are up along the walls to kind of give so you can see where the wall kind of the length goes. You do find a spot that's not like a couple of feet. I don't know how far off you want to get from the gate itself, but you were basically right there off to the side, finding a spot to like pitch tents and rolls and find yourselves cozy spots in this like rolling because they don't really have a what's the word I'm looking for? They don't really have I guess to an extent there is a little bit of a gully that kind of goes along the edges of the wall. It's kind of like a sink down, as it were. And you guys find spots that you are planting yourselves around. Phoebe, you said you wanted to do something?
Mm-hmm. Phoebe is going to pray to somebody new tonight. She is actually going to still her thoughts and try to reach out to Hera.
Mm-hmm.
Hera, I was so angry at you for so long. And for that, I'm deeply sorry. It was not your doing, the hurt I felt. How I didn't understand what wasn't happening in my life. I do not apologize for leaving him, though. I had to, even in his kindness, even in the good that was happening in Corinthos that I couldn't see. I could not stay, and I am not sorry. I don't know why you've reached out to me and not to Themisto. And I want to understand if you want something for us. If you're just trying to be mother. I'm listening.
That cold that you had felt before covers you again. You shiver, whether it's because of this new, well, not new, because you have prayed to Hera before, but it was a long time ago, it feels like. You settle in as the rest of your companions also kind of get cozy, start to share some snacks, light the little campfire. Back of your neck tingles. Phoebe, Phoebe, Phoebe. You look over your shoulder, look around where these whispering voices seem to be coming from, but you don't see anything. Just as quickly as it came, the sensation kind of goes away and just kind of fades from your neck. And you kind of just shudder and shake it off. I'm assuming Themisto, you were being right next to her, see her kind of just like gather herself and get cold. She like looks like she's getting cold.
The mister will kind of gather her closer, lean in. Yes. What is it, my warmth? The night is too cold even for you.
Don't know what I was expecting, some kind of comfort. Because it wasn't. More confused than ever. About most things in my life. But not about you.
The mister will put her hand on hers. Sometimes these things, they take time. Do you want me to reach out to anyone tonight?
I hate that I have to ask this of you. But if I'm going to be able to spend my life with you, Nyctinos told us what must be done.
Yes. I can try this thing. And it will be new for me too. But I would do anything for us.
Thank you. All I want is a day when Thebes is saved. We no longer have to face fear. When Apollo can be free and the sun shines again. That we can sit together in Delphi with you as Pythia and see what new adventures the world has for us.
The Misto, I have not seen this future yet, but I know in my heart this goodness is for us. It will happen. And she will while still holding on to Phoebe and running her other hand along the grass and dirt and stone, little pebbles, picking them up, running them through her fingers. She will, for the first time, try to reach out to a non-Orphic with ascending. See if a prayer like this will work. And she will say, well, before she starts, she'll look at Phoebe and go, maybe I should reassure him. And then she will say out loud, this is the voice of the future Pythia. You are not going mad. Where are you? You must return to Corinthos to set Phoebe free. To Matthias.
Do I have to roll for it, or you have to roll for it?
Let's see. To do ascending to somebody I don't know personally. Let me look at the rules, because we've not done that.
Yeah.
What do you mean Themista wasn't prank calling people from the temple as a kid?
I didn't know I could do this. I thought it was just praying. Creature described to you by someone who has met it. Okay, I know that. Here's the message. You can send the message across any distance. If the target is on a different plane, there's a 5% chance the message doesn't arrive. You know if delivery fails.
Okay. It's not like I guess
it
because
doesn't-
I'm thinking more of Scrying, I guess, that has more specifics.
In this case, it does not appear to suggest that there is any way for me to fail.
Unless
Which is
they are
pretty wild.
undeliverable.
So, yeah, unless it's undeliverable for whatever reason. But I feel like the wife of someone should be able to accurately describe that person to me.
Out of curiosity, do you have a description for him?
He's average height. He has very tanned skin from being out on the water most days, whether he's fishing himself or a repairer of nets. He's pretty stubbly. He could get like the goatee portion going, but never like the full good beard, as much as he tried, and very, very dark hair.
You.
Not based on any. What's the movie disclaimer? Any relations to persons living or otherwise, or
Purely coincidental.
It's a work of fiction.
You haven't tried to reach out to a non-Orphic before. In fact, all of these previous sendings have been more prayer than anything. So this time, it is pointedly different. There is no ritual feeling as much as maybe ritual is not the right word. There is not as much symbolism in the way you speak. There isn't that same sort of vibe that you would do to offer these words like
Like
normal.
I'm usually an honorific to invoke this person. Something, the best I have right now is holding Phoebe's hand in mine as we sit together and running my hands through the grass.
You get a sense that you have not felt before. It is blocked.
Oh.
This is a new sensation for you. It's like seeing a person, well, or use our terms, seeing a person through fogged glass. You know that there is the shape of a person there. Maybe we'll say like a doctor's office or whatever, like some building with fog glass. You can see a person walking by. You can't see the details of the said person, right? But you can recognize the shape of an individual. This is, in that sense, feeling an individual's presence or mind, but not being able to pierce through whatever is keeping them from hearing you.
Interesting.
There is something that is, blocking.
Can I tell in that moment if does it feel like another presence that is preventing me? Does it feel like Matthias himself is just so driven in what he's doing that he doesn't want to hear me? Like,
You can't tell. This is just something that is stopping you. It doesn't feel personified, if that helps.
Okay. It is as if I see him through the other side of a waterfall or smoke. I don't think that it made it through.
I don't like that. Something that could block your abilities like that.
To be fair, I have only ever prayed to the gods. I have not before acted as a god reaching out to a mortal.
You've not even tried talking to your parents in that way.
No.
This lady might scare your mother.
I wrote them a letter. I think perhaps being a bit old-fashioned about it is the best way to go for now.
But if there was ever someone to try it on, I'm sure they would love getting to hear your voice.
This is not something I had considered, but maybe I should do this thing. Perhaps the nighttime would be good anyway. It would feel as a dream. I'm sorry it didn't work, my sunbeam. I will try again.
We know he is alive.
Yes.
We'll
This
just have to find
confirmed.
him after we save the world.
After we save the world.
Astrid.
Yes.
You've been following your senses as you've been guiding the party so far down the road. Having heard Themisto's talking about the beast that flew overhead and the prickles that went down your skin as she described some large winged beast, your monster hunter side that had kind of been buried kind of comes back to the surface again. You sniff the air, not that you're necessarily expecting to catch something's scent, but often enough large creatures that feast on smaller ones have a smell to them, smell of death. There was, whenever you left Corinthos, the strangely cool wind in the middle of the day. As P.S., this is springtime. This is basically between May and June. The odd omen of the cold air. We'll say that you even heard the conversation between Cyprus and Davos about it being a Spartan omen of death flying ahead of you. All of these things kind of just pooling in the back of your mind. The moment earlier at the obelisk, when you guys were kind of reminiscing, kind of studying, kind of poking at this thing this pylon that you had seen on the Atlas Island, and how it kind of reminded you also that you had also seen it whenever you had saved Eryx. The Eryx and the pirates had been tied to it. That Mog's conversation with Laertes about what is it and what does it do, and how she had feigned it off as like she had no idea, like she'd never seen anything like this before, but you knew that she had. You see now as Davos and Xanthus have like gone to kind of scout around the immediate vicinity before returning to this little campsite at the outside the wall of the citadel city of Megara. You feel like a hair standing on end. There's been so many little odd points to today. The hushed whispers of Themisto and Phoebe as they are having this conversation. Laertes and Maal, who have been talking about random words that you have no idea what they're talking about, but they seem to understand each other, and that's fine. The occasional whisperings between Amadeo and Mikos. And now as you look over to our pirate companion, Mistiosi, Amadeo already laying back in his bed and on his little bedroll. Margetta already snoring face down in her pillow. Someone should probably roll her over before she suffocates herself, but she's survived this long. You see Mog sitting at the corners with Mikos. They seem to be whispering to each other as they're like, that squat sit where it looks impossible somehow, but somehow some people just like squat sit like that. Mog has their great axe in front of them. Mikos, his little daggers that are on the ground, and they're just kind of like watching the little campfire, having a very hushed conversation. You see Mog like look over at you, raise an eyebrow and smirk. Something about those two that just strikes you so odd. You remember the way that she had killed the pirate captain. The way their dagger had sunken into his flesh and turned him to stone. They have secrets, those two. Of that much you are certain. What are you doing in this moment?
I'm just gonna go up to Mog.
Sup?
Hey. You all comfortable? I mean, as comfortable as you can be with a beast like that flying ahead.
It's fine. We faced worse.
Oh,
Just split it in half like we did like I have with anything else.
turn it to stone.
You see Mikos looks over at Mog and then up at you, like not aware that you had known anything like that. Then he kind of like looks away, looking somewhat, there's like a percentage of disappointed. Mog tries to just play it off. Yeah, if I need to.
Had Astrid sensed that when she was making I think I'd asked this last session, but when she was making the deal with, what's his name?
Sophus?
Sophus,
or something like that, I think.
Mog and Miko had like raised eyebrows about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Did Astrid pick up on that? I don't remember if that was something that had happened about the crystals, about the
I think you would have noticed that they were interested in what you were doing. Like to what degree, maybe not, but you do know that they were definitely paying attention.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was quite the sight we had earlier, seeing that obelisk. reminded me of the one that we had seen underwater when we fought off the Zala.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen something like that aside from those two?
No.
Hmm.
Insight check.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Wow.
Mayday! 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 You have that
Mayday.
bag.
Ah.
That bag is right there. What are you talking about? Isn't it on the ground?
Oh yeah. Wait.
Your dice bag.
No, I need it.
Oh.
Hold on. It's over here. It's over here.
Amadeo, are you faking asleep?
This will do. Okay.
Or use a sleep
We'll
save?
say sure.
Make a perception check for me.
Sure.
22.
22.
Ooh.
Damn. High five.
right. Both of you got 22 at the same time. That was pretty great. Okay, so you're listening to them like they're not too far from you. You can hear this conversation. Astrid, she's lying.
He's lying.
Yeah, they're lying. They're lying. And you look over, I'll give you this one with that 22 as well. Mikos is feigning non-interest, but definitely is going back and forth between you and Mog.
Mm-hmm. There were some very powerful these obelisks that had hid an entire city underwater. Early on in our adventure when we all met. It's an interesting sight. It held back an insurmountable amount of ocean. It hummed. A magic I've never seen before. Something I had really never seen, even traveling to the corals that I've been to with Eric's. It's fascinating.
The mention of the corals gets Miko's fins to kind of like perk up the edges of his ears, and the fin that kind of acts like hair that's on his back kind of just like kind of comes up and then back down again. Not many do, Miko says. Those kind of things are very dangerous. It's best you don't go poking around too much.
Suppose. We've had to poke around for this. For what has been happening to us. The secrets that have been revealed to us. We're learning more about the history of this world and the darkness that has been following slowly. Not that we wanted to or asked to be part of this. Have you, Mikos, seen obelisks like this before? You said that they were dangerous, and you seem to know more about it than Mog does.
I have seen many things in my time with Amadeo and before. I know that they are dangerous, for I have seen many things happen to those that have poked around. Some people disappear. Some people come out changed. Sometimes villages burn. It's a dangerous gamble. Some things are best left buried under the sea. It doesn't take an insight check to know a veiled threat.
Yeah.
He grabs the
feel it.
dagger. He grabs the daggers that were on the ground, slides them into the holsters as he stands up. I'm going to go to that little creek that I saw. I need some water before I go to bed. Keep an eye out, Mug. And he walks off into the dark. There is a moment. Make a history check. What was it?
13.
13? Is there anything else you're wanting to throw out there? Or do you kind of go back to your bedroll for now?
I wanted to see if Mog had reacted to me saying that he knows more than Mog does about this. But it didn't. Yeah, there's. It
kind of went with the. They're like, yeah, they know that Mikos knows more.
Okay.
We'll say that as you go and lay down, if there's nothing else that you're wanting to say. Mikos' words keep rolling around in your head. The emphasis on villages burned down strikes an odd resonance with you. And you think of a village that was recently burned. And wonder if there's any
friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And wonder if there's any sort of connection there.
Okay.
Themisto and Phoebe, I'm assuming after this conversation you guys go to bed?
Mm-hmm.
They're
I'll be up.
currently snuggling.
Mm-hmm. Again, I offered to take last watch so I can be up at sunrise.
Are you guys gonna be taking watches since you have
I think
city
Cypher
guard?
said.
Heard.
Cyber's sitting there for an hour just.
It's like when an ADHD kid takes their meds, everything's just like. It's basically what Cypress did.
Oh God, it's Bobby Hill.
Themisto's gonna assert some of her privilege and not take watch. We got hired mercenaries and the Guardiani and the city guard to do this for us. We'll be fine.
Okay.
If Phoebe insists on getting up, she will get up with her. But that's it.
I'll let you sleep. I can do a watch by myself and mull over things and talk to Apollo.
Okay.
Phoebe. 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 The voice comes to you in your dreams. It is no longer just on the outside of your periphery. It is now within your very head. And it is a voice that sounds familiar. A voice of a woman that you had spoken to before. Petulant child. Petulant child. Petulant child. Always so angry when you spoke to me. Always so angry. Always so angry. And now, now you come to me asking favors. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. You wanted my attention. You wanted my attention. You have it. You wanted my attention. You have it. You have it. You have it. You have it. Now nothing. Now nothing. Now nothing.
Do I have the ability to speak back in the dream?
Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not?
Sorry, I missed out. That was a yes. I can reply in the dream. Okay. I wasn't asking for any favors. Seeing Dorothea again. She loves you so much. She was one of the reasons why I was angry at you, and it is not fair to either of you for that. I just wanted to apologize. I don't know why you came to see me at the temple. I don't deserve it.
You're so much like your father. Even like your mother. Even like your mother. Even like your mother. Even like your mother. Your neighbor would have died for you. If needed. She wanted only what was best. And you wanted an fix for the situation you found yourself in. I knew. Phoebe, daughter of Phaedra, and Agathon Arcturus. She was a servant of mine at the temple in Athens. He was an Orphic who wished to hide his power from the world. Stubborn, and yet faithful. How those qualities show themselves in you now.
What happened to them?
There is this constant low rumble to this blackened space of voice. It's like being in a sensory deprivation kind of thing where there's no, you see nothing, you can't feel anything around you, but you hear this voice echoing around you, and yet somehow you feel presence, focused. She was lost to the sea. Storm and creature. The beast responsible now slain by your companions. Justice for a servant of Hera. So faithful she was. You share that devotion and desire to protect those around you. Sweet. He has fallen from the face of the world. I know not where he is. And he knows not that his blood is carried in you. I came because I wanted to see for myself who it was that was breaking hearts. And I saw. There's now a visual, a faint, foggy, sided visual of you speaking to her in Sparta, and a woman speaking to Themisto as she painted. It was in favor to your neighbor that I have protected you as long as I have. She pleaded for you to return home safely. Her only friend in the world. The only person she cared for outside of her own wretched family. I wanted to see for myself. If you were half the woman your mother was, I see that your power has surpassed even that of your father. Your devotion, that of your mother, brighter and brilliant. You serve my husband's child well. You speak his name. Do things in his glory and honor. Good for you. Good for you. Cyprus. You stare out, waiting for Davos and Xanthus to return. You hear the crunch of the twigs from the dark as they walk over the small little embankment towards your camp. Davos gestures. Nothing to see.
Oh well. You both should probably rest.
Xanthus stops and turns around. I thought they heard something. Don't worry about it.
Perception check?
Perception check.
Yeah. With owl benefits. 13.
13?
As opposed to a 0.
You kind of peer past Xanthus as he looks back around, turns around, and eyes widen as a stinger skewers through Xanthus's body in his midsection. A scorpion-like tail that then retracts. And he falls to his knees. As the shadow of the tree and bush that they had walked past shifts and moves into a monstrous form of a chimera. And that's where we're going to end for tonight.
Damn, son.
Xanthus, no. Oh.
Oh,
Oh, aliens, yeah.
bad.
Ooh.
Crazy.
Yeah. Good thing I saw
Um,
that with my owl eyes.
Yeah. I'm imagining the resulting scream and shouts is enough to wake everybody from their slumber.
My internet crapped out for a second. Did the Hera thing end with her guilt tripping me about Dorothea?
Basically, she was just. Well, there was some other stuff that she said at the end of that, but it was basically that you were more powerful than your father and more devoted than your mother.
Okay, yeah, I got that part.
Okay. All right. Let's see if you can prove how devoted you are next week. Burn like the sun, Phoebe. All right. Well, we will see you Friday for some Star Wars. But then also, I need you to calm down now. Okay, calm down. Also next Tuesday for some life saving, hopefully. All right. We'll see you next time. In the meantime, stay fey, be safe, and
Bunny spread.
but yes.
And
Bunny
Hera's still a
spread.
bitch.
And the hair is still a
Yeah,
bitch.
a little bit.
I like to think that she was telling you what you needed.